こんにちは。東京タイプディレクターズクラブ事務局長の照沼貴子です。このホールにはほとんど人がおりません。東京 TDC 賞2020の、受賞者がその素材を、作品を語る TDCDAY。今年はさまざまな場所から送られてきた素材をつないで、オンライン配信で皆様にお届けをいたします。12のプログラムがあります。一つのプログラムの内容は受賞者によるプレゼンテーションと、続いて作品へのメッセージ映像をご紹介する構成です。英語版の動画をできるだけ早急にアップしたいと予定しております。家で過ごしていらっしゃるデザイナーの皆さん、関係者、そして学生の皆さんにお届けをしていきたいと思います。ここからは MC で参加をします。国際デザインコンペティション東京 TDC 賞は、東京タイプディレクターズクラブ会員の参加支援により活動しています。この方の発声でスタートします。
こんにちは。東京タイプディレクターズクラブ代表の浅場克美です。4月は東京は桜が美しく、受賞者を招いて授賞式を行っています。今年は皆さんに会うことができません。この企画がアーカイブされて、いつでも自由に見ることができます。デザインとその思考について触れてみてください。では、TDCDAY2020 を始めます。
東京 TDC 賞2020グランプリ受賞は、ギャラリー・ラファイエット・シャンゼリゼの新しいロゴ VI タイプフェイスです。受賞者の MM パリス、ミカエル・アムザラグさんとマティアス・オグスティニアクさん、そしてグレース・ジョンストンさんのプレゼンテーション、編集者の菅助正信さんと見ていきます。
Congratulations. Oh.
No.
No.
Yes. Yes, sorry, go on.
Are we recording now?
Yes.
Okay.
You will be recording, right? Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so first of all, congratulations on winning the grand prize for the Tokyo Type Directors Club 2020 for your identity for Galeries Lafayette, Champs-Élysées.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Thank
you. Hello. You're great. Yeah.
I don't know if you both want to just say hi and introduce yourselves, and then we'll dig down deeper into the identity and your ideas behind.
Yes, that's a good idea. So I'm Mathias.
I'm Michael.
And then yes, maybe you know us already, but like it's good that we say hello from Paris. We would have loved to be in Tokyo today or like in the next days to present our work, but due to what's happening all around the world, we're here in Paris. And we have invited Grace to interview us on that project that we did 2 years ago. Is that right, Michael?
Yeah, we started 2 years ago, and it was launched in March, a year and a half ago.
And sorry?
No, I was just going to say that I thought it'd be nice to start, Michael, if you could just say a little bit about Galeries Lafayette and the Parisian landscape, what it is and yeah, how that client relationship began.
Well, Galeries Lafayette is one of the landmark of Paris that's known like all around the world. It's like the most important department store that has like a huge traffic, and that people from all around the world come and visit because it's such a vivid place where you can find basically everything. A couple of years ago, we were approached because the Galeries Lafayette decided to branch out and do a completely new and different concept for retail in an amazing location that's on the Champs-Élysées, and to try to reboot and reinvent their way of doing a department store. So they wanted to break the mold, and they wanted to address a completely different generation. They wanted to create a new identity, and they approached us to do something that would be like a new step for them and a kind of prototype for the future.
And am I right in thinking that the identity relates in some way to the kind of modernist Art Deco building that the new store's housed in? Was that also a starting point for you?
Yeah, of course. For us Parisian, the building in which the new store has opened is a building with a lot of history, because it's also another landmark building that's on the Champs-Élysées, and that in the 80s became the first Virgin megastore in France. It's an old building from the beginning of the 20th century that used to be a very big bank. So it has this kind of really heavy turn of the century architecture, and it was one of the first, if not the first, store in Paris that was open 7 days a week and until midnight. So we both have like souvenirs when we were students and when we met to go there after school and spend like hours in this huge Art Deco building looking for records and being lost and coming out of the store with like towers of CDs that we were so excited about. So when they came to us with like the idea of revive this building that with whom we had like such a strong personal connection, it was very exciting to be able to connect to the original history of the building, to connect to this place as a space where we had such exciting memories, and to make it relevant for today.
And then what you did was you designed a typeface that could be used holistically in a public space. And yeah, I think that's really nice, that this idea of like a plural solution for a public space. So Mathias, I don't know if you could say a bit about the identity, the logo type, and how you began designing that, what its foundations are.
The idea was to try to solve a public space program, an identity for a building, but also for inside the building. So it's our first kind of identity for a public space, where it's both designing a logo and designing a like a system, like a, how do you say, like a identity
and signage.
A signage system. And we really played the game of trying to solve the whole complexity of the problem with a very simple typeface that was contained in only two dice. So it was like a game that we kind of set up the rule with, where we played a very complex situation and solved that problem by first designing two dice with 12 faces, and on those 12 faces there are combinatory signs that, when combined together, it could create either a monogram for the shop or the place, or 26 letters of an alphabet. So why dice is because there is this notion of game for sure, and then the playfulness, but also the fact that by combining dice or cube, you can create like a volume.
Mm-hmm.
The idea was to both express the identity on the facade of the building, but within also the place itself, and develop and extend the graphic identity within the space inside the retail place.
Mm-hmm.
So what's on the screen right now is all the like the endless combination that could be done with those different shapes that are placed on the 12 face of the dice, and it shows like there is a endless possibility to create a very strongly recognizable monogram.
Mm-hmm. And then that was also used throughout the store. Instead of having all of the brands that were being sold there having their own logo types, it sort of replaced them and was used holistically throughout the entire store. Is that right?
Yeah, one of the specificity of the Galeries Lafayette Champs-Élysées as a department store is to move away from the idea of a store in store. When you go in a big department store, like a classic department store, like Parco in Tokyo or the normal Galeries Lafayette in Paris, you go inside the store and then you have a smaller store for Dior or a smaller store for Chanel or a smaller store for every brand. And they all have their own identity. So it's kind of a mini village. In the case of Galeries Lafayette Champs-Élysées, the idea was to unite everything under the same language, to mix the brands on the racks, and to have this overarching identity where the typeface of Galeries Lafayette Champs-Élysées would be able to describe every brand and would be able to embrace and communicate for all of them.
Mm-hmm. And then it also has the ability to stretch on the grid. Is that right? But then also actually to expand in space and become three-dimensional.
Yeah,
so it's not just a flat signage system.
As you can see on the screen already, for each letter, there's like two different versions that are all made with like the details from the dice. And the idea is that this is not a limitation, but there's always the possibility to expand and extend the design of the sign itself. I think on one of the next slides, we'll be able to see it. This is one example of the signage system that's in the store.
Mm-hmm.
Here's examples of how we can extend and contract.
Mm-hmm.
When designing this project or conceiving this project, we had in mind the big programs that were played in Roissy Charles de Gaulle, for instance, where you had like a space and a typeface that was designed for the location itself, like a special cut by Frutiger. Or we also had in mind the Centre Georges Pompidou, where the building and the typography itself was designed as one thing.
Mm-hmm.
When they were conceived, when the Centre Georges Pompidou opened. And as Michael was saying, we wanted to unify the place inside and avoid all the expression of the different brands, so to create like a unified world.
Mm-hmm.
And this for us was very important. So we also liked very much how compact it was at the beginning and how it extended as a universe. So it starts with two cubes that contains all the ingredients, and by combining them extensively, you create a whole universe.
Mm-hmm. And you've also made pictograms out of some of the faces of the dice.
Yeah. It is like a language where we pushed the thinking so far that where we build like a typography, but also we build like pictograms. So everything is contained. So within the two dice, which is like a kind of the most simple toolbox that could exist.
But again, I think pictograms are nice because of this idea of like a universal language or something. So you're also like that sort of relates nicely to your idea behind the store itself. Like what would be like the language of a new world envisioned by MM.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I mean what's kind of exemplary here as a piece of work by both Michael and myself is that it's our first attempt to solve this very complex task, which is like how do you define the public space? How do you help people to navigate within this public space? But how do you propose them a space that they could go away from the reality they are living in?
Mm-hmm.
So the idea is to help the people that go like the public that goes inside the space just to travel. And then that's why I think the symbolism of the two dice was very important, because dice are the things that are rooted within each game board that have been conceived by the human beings since human beings have been playing together. Because it puts together the like a very rational rules and the hazards. And this is how I think that's also the demonstration where typography, it's a mix of rationality and hazards, which has been like maybe a tension that we've been trying to express in our work since we started to propose things when we started our creative relationship.
Yeah, once I said it's a quotation from Stéphane Mallarmé, the poem. But I think that's really nice, this idea of like chance in French is hazard. So yeah, like this idea of like the hazards and a strict set of rules, and the possibilities within like a game board even, or like anything where you devise the rules. I was just wanting to ask a little bit about your use of colour in the identity, and just this ability for it to also be positive and negative. The mutability of it as a design is really interesting.
It's again like in every identity program. At one point, there is the notion of colors that are raising up. And here, the idea was to choose colors that were kind of non-colors, or like colors that are often used for that maybe relate more to I don't know, like radioactivity, or like they kind of unhuman colors. And I think here it was more like to say there's going to be a lot of colors already, because it's a retail shop, so it's a lot of mix of colors. So the idea was to bring colors that are maybe not seen so much in such a context. So because I thought, this was important, that it's not just like a hardcore typography, and at one point this whole thing could shift also towards decoration, which, like for instance, in like a public space such as the Roissy Charles de Gaulle or the Pompidou Center, at the beginning, the notion of decoration was completely put on the side. And within a retail shop or within a retail place, you need at one point to bring a bit of decoration. This is the.
Oh, sorry. No, I was going to say the first thing you sent out, was it not an invitation to the opening of the store, and it showcased these colours? Yeah. And yeah, I was thinking just about the visitor who arrives and leaves, and yeah, like even how the identity exists in the packaging. And yeah, I just was wondering if you could say anything about that, like the printed matter, and yeah, your design of that as well.
The printed matter of the whole program is also very simple and very straightforward. I mean, at the beginning, what was sent out to the public was a little bag and two transparent dice within it, and then an invitation that say, "Please attend the opening of the show." So that was, of course, it was not all the public that had it, but like the initial people that could talk about the project later. So somehow they had the dashboard, and they had the dice with which they could play, and then kind of started to build like a new world. Then all the others, like the bag, the shopping bag, was really simply. I mean, we build it in a very simple way, just black and white, and then on one side there was like one of the infinite monogram, and then on the other side there was just the logo of the Galeries Lafayette. What we did use is because the typography has the ability to mutate, either stretch, like vertically or horizontally. We gave at some places or express at some places that idea to go against that kind of ultra functionalist approach, so that it feels a bit more alive.
Okay, I think that was really interesting, and thank you both for telling us all about your identity, and congratulations once again on
Yep.
winning the award.
Thank you. I mean, hopes it all makes sense to you. It was a pleasure to discuss this project amongst the three of us. But then I hope, like, when listening to this, people will enjoy and understand a bit more what we tried to do there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank
À bientôt.
you.
Au revoir.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
TDC.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, TDC. Bye.
Is that okay?
はい、私は編集者
Right, so I'm editor.
オーケストラの代表をやっております、Sugatsuke
I'm
と申します。
Sugatsuke
とても光栄な
Masanobu.
機会を設けてこの
Well, thank you very much for giving me this very honorable opportunity. I would like to talk about
お話をする
MM Paris,
ご指名いただきましたので、この場でお話をちょっとだけし
and
た
I'd
いと
like
思
to
っております。
share my comments.
僕はですね、まず MM との出会いでいきますと、
So, in 1997,
に僕が
I visited their office in Paris. That was the first time I met with him. I was at the time editor of Composite, which is Independent Culture magazine. And at the time, they were working on catalog and poster design for Yoji Yamamoto, the Japanese. And I was aware of them from their work, and I visited their office in Paris. That was the beginning of our history. And later, I requested them to create a logo for the Composite, and also in 2007, there was an annual Takeo paper show, which was held annually by a paper trading firm at the time, and I was one of the co-directors. So I asked M&M to make a paper material work. And after that, I believe it was 2017, they were involved in Palco campaign. And at the time where the first campaign started, Palco invited them to Tokyo for publicity event. And at the welcoming party, I was invited and had dinner with. At the time, they were really happy having able to be working on Palco projects. So they're very much knowledgeable about graphics and works in Japan. They have studied a lot. And in relation to TDC, I think in year 2003 and 2004, they won awards. And also, I think it was year 2006, MM was involved in the design work for art book Malaga of the Liam Gillick, and they received award. And at the reception of the awards ceremony at GGG, or the reception at GGG, I was there, and two from MM were also there. And at the time, there also was Tsuguya Inoue, who won Hobonikan Itoi Shimbun's T1 World Cup second summer poster. And I knew Tsuguya Inoue, and I knew that MM loved Tsuguya Inoue, so I introduced them to Inoue, and then Mikao and Mathias. They looked a bit surprised and so excited, saying that, "Oh, so you are Tsuguya Inoue. We have so much respect for you." And they jumped onto their knees on the floor, and they showed deep respect for them. So as the episodes show, they were really aware of the work by Inoue on particle and others. And MM are in younger generation than Inoue. But today, they won the Grand Prize at TDC, and I think this is a good influence of the Japanese work internationally. And this kind of feedback, international feedback, is a good way to mobilize or vitalize our work. And they were explaining their work in the video. And Galeries, Lafayette, Champs-Élysées graphic system or design system was the work they awarded with the prize for. I haven't seen the store yet, physically, but viewing from the video or the web images, I really do think that they are really great work. As Mathias said before, the work is really simple, but yet they have playfulness in it. It was emphasized. And I think that shows a strength of MM. MM is really with a very rich fundamental skills and knowledge in terms of graphics. But in addition to that, on top of that, they are pursuing how to be playful. So, like, they have acquired a orthodox typography of Europe as their basis, and then they are demonstrating playfulness. Today, they are combining two dice. But still, their design can be read very clearly. So they are playing with very firm rules of the games. And I think that adds to the interesting capability or power of the design. And also, the design can be expanded, extended, and still it brings unification. So they're not just being playful. It's expansive, but it is also united at the time. It's regulated by a certain rule to achieve beautiful harmony. It's just so great. And their activities and their designs, when I see them, I always think or remind of the words, to stand on the shoulders of giants. This is the expression used in Western society. So our creativity is based on the history. Our work is to add another brick or to go a step further. And when I look at their work, they are standing firmly on the shoulder of the giants and looking really far away. They have this kind of very good feeling. So they are basing their work on the history, and they are demonstrating their creativity to widely open the view. And that is really the source of the respect that I've always been feeling about their work. And again, to the two from MM, congratulations. So that ends my remarks. Thank you. Tsuya Inoue actually is the awardee of the special prize for the Tokyo TDC prize. This is the photo from the TDC exhibits at the Ginza Graphic Gallery, GGG. He was awarded for the work for the album jacket and poster series for the work by Ono Seigen, composed for Comme des Garçons. And the Inoue gave us the message to MM Paris. I am to read. The strong impact of the work MM Paris that I saw at the TDC judging venue is still stuck in my mind after several months. The work presented a double-bottom technique in which freedom is sought amid discipline. In a form such as in elaborateness and boldness, or in planning and release, departing from an idea of simple wit. I get really excited. And the typography, when I saw it, I felt that there's a sign of movement and a feeling that something will be created around the design. I felt that the painstaking work of idea creation and bringing the idea into shape, much like counting grains of sand, would be impossible for me. TDC Grand Prix was actually a literal presentation of the amazing and the beautiful, encapsulating all Tokyo TDC goal has reached over 30 years. Congratulations, Sugatsuke Inoue.